glad you're back. So we're in Philippians 4 today, and we are in verses 10 through 13. And it says, "But I rejoiced in the Lord greatly, that now at the last your care of me hath flourished again, where you were also careful, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content. I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me." So Paul knows that there are going to be disappointments, and there are going to be obstacles that he has to overcome, just like we all do. But he has trained his mind. We talked about yesterday him encouraging us, encouraging the church to whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are of good report, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely. The things we talked about yesterday, focusing our mind on Christ, thinking on these things. So he knows there are disappointments. He knows there's going to be obstacles. And he has trained his mind to focus on these things and to focus on Christ. He has learned both how to be content and be content in whatever circumstances he finds himself in. And he can only do that through keeping his mind on Christ and thinking on these things. And he's learned how to survive and to be, the only way that he knows that he can survive is to be grounded in Christ and to have that mind of Christ. That's what Philippians we've been talking about, having that mind of Christ. And he has saturated his mind with God. And so he has learned that his faith and his trust can only be in Christ. It can't be in himself. It can't be in his own abilities. It can't be in his circumstances. It can't be in anything but Christ. And so he's learned how to live and survive all of the situations that he has found himself in by thinking on these things and training his mind. And he's learned how to be content because he knows where his focus needs to be. He knows that he can only go through it, he can only make it through it by dwelling on Christ and not dwelling on negatives, not dwelling on the situation, not dwelling on whatever Satan plants in his mind. He knows that to go through any and all circumstances, his mind has to be focused on Christ. And Christ is where he's going to get that hope, that reassurance, that comfort. That's where he's going to get everything that he needs to make it through every single situation. He's going to have that peace that passes all understanding. He knows this is the only way he can survive. Because, every time I read this, I just keep going back to he's in prison. He's been stoned. He's been beaten. He's been through so many things that could have thrown him off the rails, that could have led him in a completely different path. And he has chose to put his faith and trust in Christ. He has chosen to stand firm in his faith and to keep his mind focused on the task at hand, to focus on what's most important, that petty differences or disagreements, these things can't have the same place as Christ, because Christ is what's most important. Christ is what his main goal and his focus is sharing the gospel to all. And so he's learned to train his mind and to think on these things and to keep that focus on Christ. And it's just what we have to do. You know, we have to set our minds on things above, and we have to focus on the things that he has called us to do. You know, I was talking to my grandson yesterday. He was upset about a game, and his mama keeps telling him, you don't need to get upset over a game. You need to focus. And so when I was talking to him, I was telling him, you know, you need to focus on something else. You need to, if the game is causing you to get upset or get angry or whatever, that's because you have chosen to let your mind think on that and think that way. If you set your mind and think, it's not going to bother me, this game's not going to bother me, or this situation, God's got this, it's not going to bother me. So instead of letting our minds, those thoughts that pop into our minds, and that's what our mind focuses on, we need to change our thought pattern, change our thought process, train our minds to think on these things. Because when we do, it's life-changing. It will change your life because you will see more positive than negative. You will see less worry. You will see less anger, less hurt. Think on these things. And he knows that with Christ, he has given him the strength to do these things. And that's where his strength comes from. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. He gives us everything that we need to survive everything that we face. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed that this week, and I pray that you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.